YouTube video thing. How do I... Shit. Shit. There we go. Maybe not the music for me, I don't know. Edit. No, I want to edit it more than that. I don't want to hear myself though. God damn it, I have to hear myself talk. No, I don't know. I don't know. It's not the worst music. A little bit loud. A little bit loud. What's the problem here? Too many? Yeah, I'm not doing that, that's for sure. That's true, but okay, that should be fine for now. Okay, is it nighttime? No. Okay, so no nighttime. What do we have going on here? Oh, yeah, right, that was not cool. I don't want to repeat that problem, so... Should put this here. I don't know if that'll grow there. Put one here. Part of the problem is just how many fucking trees we planted. Put one there. Who's running? Oh, Red? You're the one running? Okay, I hope you're having fun. Change my skin someday. Won't play this, and then maybe I'll play some World of Warcraft later. I don't need a shitload of copper. Oh my god. Oh my god. That fire destroyed me. I need another chest. Fuck. Hey, Casper, don't fuck with that, please, okay? Please and thank you. I don't need you. Oh, no, guys, come on. That should be obvious, really. That really should be. Can I eat that? I don't think you should need help on figuring that one out. You'll need me in my house. Okay. Not much for me to do right now. Ooh, message from Nye. It's in my house. You're in my house. Why are you in my house? Hey, guys. No. No, don't. No. No. Hey. No. Don't play with that. No, that's like the worst. Oh, that's just like, it's begging to be played with by cats. It's the last thing I want to be played with by cats. Did I mark word of mine for iron? I don't remember. Okay, yeah, I did. Hi, you're not Kira. You can be up here, but you have to get in the bed. You gotta get in the bed. You can be up here. Hey, Kira, I just told him not to do it, and now you're doing it. Don't give me that look. Don't do it. Don't do it. I'll stop playing Minecraft. I'll do it myself. You do not want that. Ah. What the fuck? You know, gosh. Another one. And, no iron, huh? Probably been here. On the other end. No. No, but, there's not a fucking thing in there I want. Okay, cool. You still get emeralds. Casper, you look so silly. I need gold too, I really need gold. I gotta figure out where gold is at. I heard that. Oh my. Oh my god. Something's gonna shoot me off of here, probably. Wow, this place is huge. Okay, there's gonna be a lot of stuff here. One thing at a time, one thing at a time. Oh, that's what I thought. Yeah, there's something down there. I have an iron sword. I'm cool with that. That worked out for me. This is a big area. This area's too big. I can't handle this right now. I have one torch. I have no wood. Okay, cool. It's really good. It's helpful. Really glad I made the executive decision to not get any more stuff for torches. That was really smart of me. Very kingly decision to make. Okay. And I'm... Okay, there's the iron I was looking for. Okay. Wouldn't be so bad if I could find some railway tunnels. That would help a lot. Fuck, okay. Okay, how did I... Up here? Okay. Up here, okay, up here, up here, up here. I just don't want to get shot off of there. Here, don't look at me. I don't want you to look at me. I don't want your face to look at me. Hi, Casper. Ooh, should I put the cat cam on? Dude. Oh, my cat cam is on. What are you doing? What are you doing? Are you drinking something? What are you drinking? I don't understand. Why are you in here, you freak? Why isn't it cooking? Okay. Pretty sure I have a lava bucket. I don't want that. I hate watching that move. Casper? No, you're not Casper. You're Red. I'm sorry, he's in your spot. You don't have a spot right now. Other than my bed. You can lay on my bed. That's 100% fine. That's fine. You can lay on my bed. Why don't you go lay on my bed, bud? I need a lot of iron. I need gold. Redstone. I don't need redstone so much. And you know what though? Actually, I like to change what I'm listening to. Have spy. That would be cool. I wish someone would subscribe, but I'd have to have people watching for that. I'm talking to myself. That's kind of weird. Phenomena. Phenomena.
The true extent of its
Phenomena.
influence is still unknown. It seems to have been going on for quite some time now. usually in irregular intervals.
Ooh.
If you were to head down to any of the towns within the affected region for a visit, the chances of you noticing anything out of the ordinary would still be rather low. But then again, if you're in the wrong place at the wrong time, it's entirely possible you could witness an occurrence of SCP-3023, every arachnophobe's worst nightmare. One terrifying incident happened at a baseball game held during the height of the summer, with the scorching sun hanging high above a stadium packed with eager fans. The home team was neck and neck with their longtime rivals from the next town over. As the players took to the field after a changeover, everything hung in the balance. The home team's coach had made a bold change, sending out a new baseman, a young man named Jenik Denke. He was a rookie, untested, but the team's strongest veterans had been doing their best through the whole first half of the game, and still, the scores were almost tied. And so Jenik stepped up to the base, unaware that making the next catch would change his life forever. The crowd was silent, the tensions flattening their cheers and chants to a low murmur as the rival's heaviest hitter stepped up to the bat. He was a behemoth, arms twice the size of the baseball bat he carried over his broad shoulder, striding up with confidence as he readied to swing, watching and waiting. A bead of sweat rolled down Jenik's forehead, dropping down the bridge of his nose. He couldn't tell which was making him sweat more, the heat of the sun or his own nerves.
Don't play with that.
The pitcher's mound lifted a leg, the baseball in hand. If he gripped the ball any tighter, his fingernails might have splintered.
Do you need to add EL for
White
that?
synthetic leather wrapped around it. Jenik stared, not even bothering to wipe away the drops of sweat from his eyes. As his teammate's throwing arm reeled back and hurled the ball forward, it felt like time itself had slowed.
Was I looking at some up
The
here?
rival team's batter swatted the baseball out of the air.
I lost them. I don't know where they were now.
That sent the ball speeding through the air.
Oh, there they are.
Jenik dashed to catch it, his mitt outstretched. The ball was careening back down to earth like a white and red meteorite, almost moving fast enough to burn up on re-entry as it hurled through the atmosphere. Jenik could feel his heart rattling against his ribcage as every instinct told him he'd never make that fateful catch. In a final act of desperation, he leaped off the ground with every ounce of strength and
Boing?
around him,
Okay.
the crowd exploded with the thunderous sounds of overjoyed applause. The mighty force of the weighty cork ball was like catching a punch in midair. The tremors of the impact whistling down Jenik's arm. He felt that first, before realizing that the ball was now lodged securely in his hand. He'd done it. He'd made the catch.
Jeez.
The batter was out. But before he could even react in celebration, it happened. His arm recovered from the initial shock of the catch just in time to feel the lightning fast-flowing small legs scuttling over.
Oh
his
my god,
shoulder.
oh my god. No,
Barely
I'm not ready
able
for
to
you.
breath, the last thing Jenik saw was something that used to be the baseball, hurriedly crawling up his chest.
Stop
towards his
falling.
neck. From a distance,
Jeez.
his teammates, the fans in the audience, only saw him drop to the turf, flailing his arms trying to brush off something falling over him as it attacked and killed the young baseman in what otherwise would have been the proudest moment of his life.
No!
While that may
Cass,
have been the first time anything
Red!
bad had ever
No!
happened,
Hey!
it certainly wouldn't
No!
be the last. Now,
No!
ever passed by an abandoned building and felt an urge to
That's my
look
fault.
inside?
I know that's my
Of course,
fault. You're gonna.
a lot of us have, but most of us are smart
I
enough to
should've put
resist
that
the
up
urge.
so
But
long
on the
ago.
very rare times you and your friends have worked up the courage to explore
Too
somewhere like
tempting for
this,
you guys.
you
I
probably
get
never
it.
found
Way too
anything
tempting.
all that
You can't
interesting.
resist the urge.
Then again, you might want to think twice before sneaking past those keep
Let me. That's my fault.
end signs. Maxie and I have
Can't blame you
learned that
for
lesson the hard way when they gained access
that,
to an
huh?
abandoned
No.
office block. Maybe they were trying their hand at making a Blair Witch Project style amateur found footage movie, or they could have been dabbling in some urban exploration.
Dumb.
In this case, there might
Very
have been
dumb
a
of
few
me.
places of office furniture left behind by the building's previous occupants, something that the removal company forgot to take when the place was cleared out.
Are you?
The pair
Oh
of
my
them could
god.
have just helped themselves. After
Oh, there's a
all,
little
they
freak.
needed a folding
Oh, he's got a
chair.
fucking knife.
And there was more than just
Oh, he's fucking me up.
trembling through her stifled tears. Iva's phone was shuddering in her hand. The office had been dark, but she was certain the shadowy shape that had taken Maxie didn't belong to a human being. Bending her hand over her mouth to silence her terrified voice, she
I don't. Fuck.
pointing her phone's camera wherever she looked as it recorded.
Dude, I don't
Iva
know.
could hear the loud tapping of several metal legs moving.
I have a
hurriedly
great
around
solution
the
here.
office. The noise would pause at regular intervals. Every time it stopped, she thought, no, praying that the creature was gone. But just as Iva went to look, she would hear the same sound, quick, scampering steps, the kind of movements that feel unnatural to look at, that are only possible.
Yeah, I don't have a great solution for that one. I just gotta go down and deal with it. Wow.
The creature didn't shriek or scream or breathe like you'd expect of some awful monster in a horror movie. But then again,
Oh my god.
how could it? It had been a chair when Maxie had walked up to it. Nothing more than an ordinary folding chair. The patter of metal footsteps stopped again, this time for longer. It had to be gone now, she thought. She gave it another few seconds just to make sure the silence wasn't broken again. Crawling out from under the desk, her phone still in her hand, Iva allowed herself to breathe a tentative sigh, only for that sigh to become a scream as it lunged at her. The chair's seat and back, now the body and maw of an angry arachnid monster.
It's a weapon
As
tool
Iva
that I
screamed,
need.
her phone caught the whole
Armor would
gruesome
be
sight
good.
on camera.
Kira,
You
I
might be starting
can't
to
see,
a pattern emerging.
and
But there's
I need
yet
to.
another twist in this multi-legged tale.
You're sitting like
These
right where the
evidences
little
were just
tiny
one
zombie was
incident.
gonna be on my
Sure,
screen.
They might fall into the freak of nature category like so many other anomalous incidents, but while it's unclear
Oh,
exactly
fuck
how
off,
these particular
dude.
anomalies come about, could it be possible that something or someone is creating them on purpose? Mobile Task Force Alpha 21 were already on the scene in the aftermath of the latest incursion. The Elite Foundation strike team had eliminated the threat. Luckily, it had started life as a phone, meaning they were able to remotely destroy it, causing its electronic components to detonate. Not before it had killed 2 Foundation personnel, though. Naturally, now came the cleanup operation, gathering up evidence, leaving no trace of what had happened. The SCP Foundation still had little clue as to what exactly caused instances of this nature, a phenomenon they had now designated as SCP-3023. All they had to go on was a handful of cases, and footage recovered from a cell phone that had belonged to an urban
oh my
explorer
god, you're in my way.
who'd met an untimely end at the jaws of
You're
a
in my way.
folding
Are you?
but
Yeah.
footage. Something unusual had been caught by a security camera a few days before.
That
the
is
latest
right where it was,
SCP-3023
is where you're standing right
incident.
now.
The security footage showed a man breaking into an office where the latest 3023 instance, the telephone.
Are you
had been
upset because
found.
he's in your
As he
spot?
picked up the phone in question, this individual's jaw appeared to unnaturally split open horizontally, allowing 4 dark,
Just share it.
funnel-like
Here, come on,
appendages
come on.
to emerge.
Just share it.
These appendages
Just
robbed
share
the
it.
phone
Just
for
share
over
it.
half
Just
a
share it.
minute
You've done that
before
before. You guys have
retracting.
shared that
The
spot
man
before.
then returned the phone to its original place and promptly
I
left
don't
the
actually
office.
care. I just-
Thanks to further
I
investigation
can't see when you're
conducted
right
by the
there.
Foundation's forensic experts, this unknown individual was identified as Mr. Sar, the owner of a local restaurant. Naturally, MTF Alpha 21 moved in to apprehend this suspect. The only real lead as to what has been causing the multiple
Hey!
instances of SCP-3023 to begin occurring. in
I know
Germany.
you guys are
However,
capable of
when
sharing.
Sar was eventually detained, he showed next to no sign of any anomalies in his body. He claimed to have no memory of the events depicted in the security footage, had never encountered any previous SCP-3023
No,
instance, and seemed to
guys.
possess no knowledge of the strange properties he was
I don't even know what my HP is
Nonetheless,
because
the
there's a
SCP
cat in my
Foundation
way.
was forced to detain Mr. Sar, although he never displayed any anomalous behavior ever again. Now, you might be forgiven for thinking that, with Sar held in Foundation custody, everyone could breathe a sigh of relief. But sadly, for any arachnophobes watching at home, new instances of SCP-3023 kept cropping up, in even stranger and more horrific fashion than ever before. Imagine you had a headache.
Don't fall.
And we're talking about a real killer here. One of those power drill to the frontal lobe migraines. Maybe you'd spend too much time glued to a computer screen at work, and all that blue light from your monitor scrambled your gray matter. Or perhaps last night was a pretty wild one, and after a few too many drinks, you were left feeling hung over the next morning. What's your go-to response in that situation? Obviously, you can call in sick to work, then go to your medicine cabinet or an over-the-counter pharmacy and grab some
Brad,
basic painkillers.
I love you
paracetamol,
so
aspirin,
much, Brad.
ibuprofen, all the
But I
things
don't
that
want
we
you
trust to
right
make
in
us
front of
feel
me
better,
while I'm
not
playing
to make
video
things
games. I'm
even
sorry.
worse. To
I'm so
Patrick,
sorry.
this started as one of the most normal things in the world.
I know, it's
Like
cruel.
you or I, his immediate response to finding himself suffering from a raging headache was to grab a gelatin capsule of ibuprofen, as casually and unsuspectingly as anyone would.
Can't
He took
see.
it in hopes of quickly relieving his pain and carrying on with his day. probably even chasing it down with a quick glass of water. Only unbeknownst and unseen to Patrick, something happened the moment
How
that
fucking
ibuprofen
big
capsule
is this
passed his
area?
lips and went towards his
Right.
throat. Something
Skeletons.
that stopped it from fully going down his throat, in fact. Much like the baseball, the folding chair, the phone, and who knows how many other unrecorded incidents, the pill had sprouted
Good.
8 spider-like legs. At first, it started as a gentle cough, like you'd expect when a capsule gets lodged in your throat. Grabbing a tissue, Patrick gave a few grunting attempts at clearing his airway. There was definitely something in there that almost felt like it was scratching. Not the kind of scratch at the back
Now
of
you're
the
on my
throat
mouse.
brought on by some
Cord.
allergies.
Thank you.
The kind of scratching that caused Patrick to cough up blood when he put a tissue to his mouth. The kind of scratching that he could feel moving, crawling around his windpipe. Perhaps if he had more time, Patrick could have raced to the hospital and had whatever was clawing its way around his throat removed safely with that free European healthcare. Unfortunately, the
Why
thing
did-
that the capsule
why
had
did you have,
turned
like,
into
a grudge
just
when
as
you
he
said
swallowed
that?
it wasn't that kind. Racked with unimaginable pain, Patrick was writhing and spluttering uncontrollably, his mouth filled with more bile and blood than saliva at that point. The scratching was
I was
moving,
really hoping for some
not down towards his
diamonds.
esophagus, towards his stomach. It was going outwards, burrowing through the insides of his neck until it reached his spinal cord. By that time, the little ibuprofen capsule-sized instance of SCP-3023 came crawling out from the back of his neck. Patrick was already dead. Let's say you were aware of this. Of all these strange happenings, seemingly ordinary everyday objects turning into angry, aggressive spiders. Obviously, the Foundation might want to have a little chat with you about how you came across such information, but for the sake of argument, imagine you did know. You might think the smart idea would be to leave. After
I need
all,
food.
SCP-3023 instances are only known to occur
I need to figure out how
in
to
a
get out of
specific
here,
region
because
of
I don't know
central
how right
Germany,
now.
neatly situated in the middle
A little
of
too deep
Lakescape and
in here,
Düsseldorf.
so that's good.
So you might think
Well,
that
that's
it's time
good.
to up sticks and leave that area. Maybe even leave Germany altogether. Just hop in your car and drive to safety. If only it were that easy. The family of 4 was cruising down the Autobahn in an SUV. Just another car on a packed highway. Exhausted after hours on the road, Matteo and Nina sat quietly up front, making sure they didn't wake their son and daughter, both asleep in the rear passenger seats. The car was picking up speed, about to pass 70 miles per hour as it gradually carried them home, although it wasn't going to get them all the way back. The screech of twisting metal woke both sleeping kids up screaming.
Oh, cool.
Their parents equally shocked
That's
at the
so
sudden
cool.
noise. The car lurched and buckled, like something had collided with it. But this was no ordinary traffic accident. Without any rhyme or reason, the front of their SUV warped itself into the distinctive shape of a cephalothorax, while the rear turned into what looked like an abdomen. As the car shifted and reshaped around them, the grinding of metal as auto parts became huge metal legs. Matteo, Nina, and their children were still trapped inside, never to make it out. But the creepy crawly carnage
Why?
wasn't just contained inside the car. The newly born arachnid abomination hurtled its way down the Autobahn, managing to maintain its speed. Other drivers swerved and slammed on their brakes to avoid hitting the creature they couldn't even believe was scuttling hurriedly along the highway. Unfortunately, this led them to careening into other
I'm
cars,
actually starving.
smashing
Oh, that's not cool.
headfirst into a pileup that claimed the lives of
That's
41
really not
people.
cool.
Not
I
that
don't
the
know if I'm even going the right way.
Foundation would ever admit it. With one of their facilities only
I got a
250
clue.
meters away, they were quick to dispatch an airstrike to deal with the spider.
No, wait, hold on. This
Once
is...
it became
I've
clear
been
that
here
Mobile
before?
Task Force Alpha 21 couldn't contain it.
Wow,
Across
I
the
actually
board,
found a...
anything capable of sprouting
Ooh.
4 pairs of spindly legs
It's
and
not good,
crawling
though.
towards you with the intent to kill tends to rack up quite the body count. But dealing with bodies are some people's business. That was the case for Lucas, a newly qualified coroner. After passing years of training, he was working with the local police department, performing autopsies and examining bodies to help them with their investigations. Sure, it may not have been the most glamorous profession, but Lucas could sleep soundly, knowing that he'd never get hurt by a dead body. A John Doe, a body that hadn't yet been identified, had just been brought in after police had found him on the side of the road. Lucas thoroughly washed his hands, put on his gloves and scrubs, along with the rest of the autopsy team. He'd sat in on at least a dozen of those procedures, studied the relevant process and techniques. Everything had prepared him for the job of figuring out how someone had died. But not even the most experienced medical examiner could be prepared for what happened next. Taking the lead, Lucas began by making the primary incision into the cadaver's chest. It always reminded him of a particular scene in The Thing, where a character's stomach opened up and became a maw of frightening teeth, revealing them to be the titular
Oh my God.
shifting alien. That thought was quickly shaken away when suddenly, to Lucas's surprise, the body lurched violently on the examining table. Not everyone expects dead bodies to be able to move. While it might be rare, it's also not impossible. Any number of things can cause someone's remains to move after death. Muscles atrophying or spasming, the body filling up with gas.
That was an
as it
awful
breaks down.
noise.
Of course, any coroner would expect these movements to have subsided by the time someone reaches the autopsy room. Caught off guard by the sudden violent movement, Lucas stepped away, dropping his scalpel. His panting breath warmed his face beneath his surgical mask as he stared for a moment, waiting to see if the
Hey,
body
super
moved
healthy.
again. Certain it would be still now, Lucas wrote the spooky incident off just as a muscle spasm and leaned over to retrieve his scalpel. But while he was crouching, he noticed something strange. It almost looked as if there were a pair of protrusions poking out from under the dead man's skin. Walking around the other side of the table, Lucas found two more similar lumps at the body's abdomen, almost as if something was inside, ready to force its way out. Without warning, John Doe
I
suddenly
don't have any
began
more?
on the examining table. Only this time, it didn't stop. Lucas couldn't believe his
great.
eyes. The man's
Cool.
face was still,
So cool.
frozen in the same dead expression, but his arms and legs were thrashing and writhing around as if he was somehow still. 4 extra limbs suddenly burst from the sides of the cadaver, and the now 8-legged creature reared itself up, leaping towards a member of the autopsy team. It scuttled and skittered around on its new appendages while Lucas watched in horror. Blood-curdling screams filled the autopsy room as he bolted for the door. Lucas raced down the corridor.
Wait,
His
sounds
corner
actually-
dared not looking behind
That
him while
is actually
sprinting to the city mortuary. Behind him, he could hear the thudding of the spider's multiple limbs right at his heels. Out of the corner of his eyes, right on the edge of his peripheral vision, he could see the massive legs scuttling towards him. Maybe he would get out, run all the way to safety before the spider was upon him. But how can you hope to outrun something with 8 legs when you only have 2? The most important thing to remember is that while any unsuspecting inanimate object near you might suddenly decide to become an angry spider, the chances of
I
it
want
happening
to kill these
are very,
guys. Like,
very
you're free to go, dude.
especially if you happen to be in central Germany. Those chances are never 0 either. The creature let out an unmistakable squeal of rage as stimulus Y835 took effect. Dr. Christensen pressed his face up against the glass, eager to see the results. It had to work this time. It simply had to. He was certain that this
Fucking awful
attempt
farm
would
you've
make
got
all the other
here, dude.
failures worth it, and he'd once again prove the Foundation's faith in him to be well placed. SCP-5683 shrieked a loud, insect-like sound that would have normally made the blood run cold of anyone that heard it. But to Dr. Christensen, it was like music. A monster's dying fanfare to mark his success. Soon he'd be the researcher who neutralized not one, but 2
Sorry.
tenacious, highly adaptable anomalies. The senior researcher could feel his heart racing as the deadly giant spider started to twitch, then burst.
Oh, this
into
one's
2
not. I know what this
identical
is.
entities. The pair of arachnid anomalies had reacted somewhere in the United States. No matter what time a person ascends the staircase, the solar time in the clearing will always be 2 p.m. You know how people say it's 5 o'clock somewhere? Well, it's 2 o'clock somewhere too. And that somewhere is here. The pocket dimension that is SCP-2427 is thought to have been a holding area for weapons, prisoners, and artifacts belonging to an ancient cult known as the Brazen Heart. Little is known about this relatively obscure cult,
Hey, look
other
up a
than the
wheat
fact
farm
that they
video.
worship
Wheat.
the demonic entity Moloch, a known enthusiast of
Minecraft
violent human
wheat
sacrifice,
farm
and were previously
automatic.
thought to have been eradicated during the Spanish Inquisition. The existence of SCP-2427 suggests that they're very much
that
not
looks
eradicated
inconvenient, I'll be
and are
honest.
still active. They refer to these holding areas as
automatic
attics,
Minecraft
and though
bedrock
no
wheat farm
confirmed
is simple
members
and
of the
efficient.
Brazen Heart have been contacted,
Doing too much
it
tutorial
is
for this
considered
farm?
possible that there are
Alright,
at least a
okay, fuck you.
handful of other attics hidden around the world. The Foundation has identified 7 anomalous objects inside
Some of
of
these are stupid.
SCP-2427 so far.
A lot of them are
Each
stupid.
strange in its own beautiful, though often
Oh my
terrible
God.
way. Like snowflakes.
Oh, right, I
if
haven't
they
said
were
that.
capable
I haven't
of
said the
killing or
144.
maiming you. The first object in SCP-2427, aka SCP-2427-1, is a seemingly normal fire hydrant. However, if you think there's anything normal about the item,
3 7x7s, okay. Is there something on me?
The hydrant is made out of lead, and when opened, it expels high levels of ionized radiation. No specific measurements of the radiation have been taken yet, but it is definitely hazardous to human health. One unfortunate member of D-Class personnel has proven that it is a high enough level to melt human flesh. Sorry about your face, Dave. The hydrant is currently contained within an electrified perimeter and is not to be opened under any circumstances to prevent any further flesh melting. The last thing we need is another Dave incident. The second object contained within SCP-2427 or SCP-2427-2 is not actually an object at all. It's a building. Only on number 2 and we're already throwing curveballs at you. Trust no one. Surprises lurk around every corner. This particular building resembles a large multi-storied sanitarium built in the 1860s. Though it is clear from the outside that the building has or should have multiple stories, the inside is a different matter. Past the building's front doors is a non-Euclidean space consisting of a single floor and 3 sparsely decorated rooms with one central foyer. The first room is the holding place for SCP-2427-3. The second contains SCP-2427-4, and the third room contains nothing except scattered religious documents, bottled water, and a selection of canned food. No unauthorized staff are permitted to enter the building, in order to minimize complications or potential employee casualties. The first 2 anomalies on this list are hardly even strange by SCP Foundation's standards. Sure, the hydrant can melt your face, and the building defies the laws of physics and space. But that's just a regular Tuesday around these parts. Been there, seen that.
3,
what else
4,
you got?
5,
Well, SCP-2427-3 is where things really get strange. If you're wandering through the bowels of SCP-2427-2 and you make a wrong turn into the first room, you will find yourself face to face with a startling sight. This entity is a combination of electronic circuitry, a cow's digestive tract, the hairless head of a human man, a hat rack, several lengths of garden hose, and an unidentified crystalline structure. This creature is extraordinarily fast and strong, exhibiting carnivorous tendencies and a very strong point of view on the world around it. Lucky for us, it is capable of speech and is able to tell us just what it thinks. Though this monstrosity doesn't have much of a right to pass judgment on anyone, cow intestine, body and all, it has expressed a violent hatred of all life that it considers impure.
7.
Anyone who encounters SCP-2427-3 experiences an overwhelming desire to submit themselves for judgment, allowing the creature to determine their purity. There is a rumor that if one is judged to be pure, they will have a wish granted. If they are
Is it the laugh from
impure,
Dark Souls?
however, they
Or,
will
well,
be
even
devoured
better,
alive.
from...
If you're tempted to introduce yourself,
Oh, what was the other game?
your
I remember
odds
the
are
other game
not
it's from.
especially
From a different
great.
game.
The creature has not encountered a single pure being yet. In order to protect the Foundation staff working in its vicinity, the entrance to SCP-2427-3's room has been sealed off with a reinforced steel door, and the windows have been paved over with concrete. Armed guards are watching the entrance at all times. The creature must be fed 1 live goat per day in order.
Then next to the front of a 7x7 block square stone torches. So the first thing you're going to want to do is build a 7x7 block square out of grass. Then next to the front of the grass, mine out a 1 block hole strip like so. Then go to the right hand side of the strip, mine out 2 blocks, then place a chest.
Okay. Should have brought a crafting table with me. Okay, shit.
In that gap. Go behind the chest and place a hopper. You will know it's placed right if the funnel is going toward.
Okay. Don't remember how to make a hopper. No, no, okay. Shit. Why? You should put them in the video. And it should be at the front. Oh, that's why I fucking thought. Okay. I'm gonna need more, I bet you. I'm gonna need more.
Towards the chest. Then funnel the rest of the hoppers into the gap like so.
Wait, what?
You'll know towards the chest. Then funnel the rest of the hoppers into.
Okay. Okay, well, that didn't work. Okay, that worked. That worked. Okay, cool. I need 4 more. I need 4 more, stupid. Hey, music. Someone.
Bird to keep its appetite satiated. The Foundation's goat budget is through the roof these days, but it's worth it to keep the thing contained. Better to spend money on goats now and not spend money on cannibalized personnel later. SCP-2427-4 consists not of an object located within a room, but the room itself. The room, which contains no furniture and a linoleum floor, has a peculiar effect on the human psyche. Once a person steps foot into the room, they lose consciousness for 5 minutes. During this time, they will speak freely, listing off a variety of negative qualities about themselves. Once they wake up, they have no memory of entering this state or anything that they said during it. It's cheaper than therapy, right? But it's also much weirder and less effective, so you get what you pay for in the end. A member of D-Class personnel who was observed inside of the room waxed poetic about his personal failings, beginning his monologue with, "My soul is a den of spiders," and ending it with, "O hero whence I awaken, hesitate not to feed my flesh and my soul to the judge beast." Somebody give this guy a hug. Because the room seems to have no adverse effects on human test subjects, except for causing everyone who hears their monologue a bit of discomfort. There are no containment procedures in effect for it at this time. We've had rooms, fire hydrants, and horrible meat-robot hybrids. And now, you can't even trust the clouds in the sky. SCP-2427-5 is a seemingly innocent cloud, hovering stationary over the building.
It's kind of like King Jacket.
The cloud will eject a ball of solid lead towards the person at a supersonic speed. That's right, folks. This cloud can and will shoot you. It hates being observed, but it also hates when you try to leave the perimeter. It will attack any person attempting to leave by firing the same lead ball at them. So far, 14 personnel have been killed by this highly aggressive cloud. And some people still think thunderstorms and hail are the worst things clouds have to offer. So naive. As it is a literal cloud, there is no way to contain it, so no people in the vicinity of the cloud are permitted to look at it for more than 3 seconds at a time.
I think you could probably figure something out.
SCP-2427-6 is a series of 18 small trees, spread throughout the instance of SCP-2427. Above ground, the trees look normal, though their species has proven surprisingly difficult to determine. From an external perspective, they are simply ordinary trees. However, radar analysis revealed that the roots of these trees are deeply strange. Instead of the usual twisting tree roots, the ground below these trees contains a mass in the shape of a human body. Much to the disgust of the observing researchers, these humanoid masses occasionally twitch and move, as if alive. The trees themselves appear to be growing from the crotch area of each humanoid figure. How's that for morning wood? I know, I get it, bad joke. This arrangement between trees...
Yeah, it was a bad joke. For you, it was a bad joke. You can do whatever.
Trees marked with a plaque reading, "The lecherous suffer what they must, and it is beautiful." Until it can be certain that the condition of these human roots is not contagious, these trees are to be treated as potential biohazards and isolated in individual containers. The final object in SCP-2427 currently categorized by the Foundation is SCP-2427-7. SCP-2427-7 is a pile of ashes and wood located just behind a posted sign that reads, "The Liar's Cradle." Extensive testing has been established that the Liar's Cradle was almost certainly used as a torture device in interrogations performed by the Brazen Heart. A person standing within the boundaries of the cradle, which encompasses the aforementioned circle of wood and ashes, is unable to lie without suffering the consequences. Namely, they will be set on fire. The nature of how exactly the Liar's Cradle works is not certain, and more research needs to be done on it. However, this much is known for sure. It contains no sentient intelligence. It is not aware of what it is doing. It does not kill its victims, rather it keeps them miraculously alive as it sets them on fire, prolonging their agony and allowing their interrogators to get the truth out of them. A series of experiments revealed that it only immolates a person who is knowingly lying. D-Class personnel give demonstrably false information to repeat in the cradle without knowledge of its falsehood were not set on fire. However, when those same D-Class personnel knowingly lied in the boundaries, they immediately were set ablaze. It is almost certain that the Brazen Heart cult used the cradle as a method of interrogating presumed liars in their midst. Further investigation will likely reveal human remains beneath the cradle itself, though this is just a hypothesis currently. But come on, there has to be some bones somewhere beneath something as ominous as the Liar's Cradle. Though they have only identified 7 anomalies inside SCP-2427 at the moment, there are plenty more lurking in there, waiting to be discovered. In the foyer of SCP-2427-2, the Foundation discovered an extremely ominous list of items, clearly belonging to members of the cult of the Brazen Heart. This list included some familiar items, such as Pilgrim provisions, also known as the canned beans and soup found in SCP-2427-2, a Level 3 Purity Proctor, a purge engine disguised as a fire hydrant, and the Liar's Cradle. However, it also contained many things that have not yet been discovered, such as 1 slaughtering perseverance, 27 pyre children, 3 ascended cultivars, 7 supreme angelics, 9 dragons, and the Brazen Heart itself. Dr. Gordon McElroy, Site Director of Area 2427, put out a memo to all Level 4 and higher staff assigned to the area after the discovery of this list. Understandably, he was most concerned about the supreme angelics and the dragons, particularly the latter. The cult, as most cults are, is fond of deliberately obscure language, but you don't want to rule out the possibility they've got a fire-breathing lizard or 2 stashed away. In the meantime, as the Foundation is working to better understand the contents of SCP-2427, the area has been sealed off to the public. A 500-meter perimeter has been established around its entrance, and a fake private country club has been set up as a front. It's only a matter of time before the rest of the anomalies on the list are discovered, and this thing full of stuff gets even fuller of even more stuff. Let's just hope none of it ever gets out, because if there are more of these addicts out there, who knows what else the Brazen Heart is hiding? Their little cult may not be as extinct as we thought. A D-Class drag races through the testing zone, screaming at the top of his lungs and doing donuts. A mime who is also in the testing chamber stares with disapproval, tapping his foot impatiently. Did we mention that the car is made of spiders? Yeah, this one is going to be a weird one, folks. Stay tuned for one of the craziest SCP stories you've ever heard. Emily had always dreamed of taking a trip to Paris. When the opportunity actually came to visit the city, she was overjoyed. She spent her time exploring art museums, tasting the bread
Oh,
and
I do
cheese,
have. Okay,
and walking
cool.
through the city streets, taking in the sights. One of her favorite things about Paris was all of the street performers. As she walked, nibbling on a pain au chocolat, she delighted in the antics of jugglers, tossing colorful balls
Oh,
into
no.
the air. She
I don't
gasped
think
at
I
the
have
feat
one of
of
those.
athleticism and grace demonstrated
If
by
I can make one, I
acrobats
need to
and
make several of them. Oh
contortionists.
no.
She giggled at the absurd shows put on by puppeteers and dabbed tears from her eyes at the sound of beautiful songs played and sung by musicians. It became part of her daily routine. One night, as Emily was walking back to her hostel after a long, languid dinner, she found herself walking down a street she had not encountered before. There was no one around except for her. It was a lovely moment of peace, but it also struck her as a little bit eerie, and she wished for the familiar throngs of people. Up ahead, she spotted the silhouette of another person and let out a sigh of relief. As she got closer, she could make out the black and white striped shirt, the suspenders, the black beret, the white face makeup, rouged cheeks, and red lips. A mime. A real, classic French mime. She couldn't believe her luck. When he spotted Emily approaching, the mime began to start a performance. He began with a classic, The Invisible Box. He felt around the walls of the invisible box, looking out with exaggerated wide eyes and an open mouth. Emily clapped and reached into her bag for a little bit of money she could use to tip him.
Yeah, there's not much
He
I
was
can do
putting on a
here.
performance just for her. He deserved it. She walked closer to the mime, looking for a place to put her tip. She didn't see one, so she held up her hand, offering the money directly to the mime. As he took notice of how close she was getting, the mime began shaking his head vigorously, eyes wide and insistent. She didn't understand that he was trying to warn her until it was too late. Dozens and dozens of spiders began to crawl over the mime's face, up and inside of his clothes, from his shoes, pouring out over the street and crawling up onto Emily. She tried to brush them off, she tried to run away, but no matter how hard she tried, the spiders just kept coming. All she could do was scream. In an attempt to experience a little bit of live performance, Emily unwittingly came across SCP-3247. SCP-3247 is a humanoid entity standing at approximately 1.7 meters in height. It wears a striped shirt and suspenders similar to the garb of a stereotypical French mime.
I can't do anything
with
without
to be white makeup on its face and all other exposed skin. Though these aspects of its appearance seem as if they should be removable, the clothing and makeup are, in fact, parts of the entity's physiology and cannot be removed from its body. This is not the only unusual aspect of the entity's physical form. Though it looks corporeal and solid, the entity cannot touch or directly interact with any solid matter, with one particular exception. There is a colony of spiders living on and inside of SCP-3247. These spiders have officially been designated SCP-3247-A and are highly protective of SCP-3247.